Morning, my name is Roy Dinkert from Landscape Department. Snow looked like we've been handling it pretty good, and we're working on the master plan for the year coming. And we're meeting with contractors on this coming Thursday at the landscape meeting. So we should have a contract there in place hopefully real soon. And everything else looks pretty good on the department. We just have a lot of ruts and a lot of repairs that will need to be done as the weather changes, the spring come forward. Hopefully so.
Okay. So my understanding is, Roy, is that we're expecting snow for Thursday, I'm sorry?
Wednesday night, Friday.
Yeah, Wednesday night. So my understanding is it's supposed to be fairly heavy at this point.
They, depends on who you listen to, they've been going back and forth with that. They haven't given it definite. It's like a nor'easter. We could miss it totally, or we could get covered totally.
So we'll pray that it goes out to the ocean like the last one, I guess. All right, Dave, I guess the next question is from the contract standpoint. There's some contract stuff that wasn't worked out from last week, and I'm not going to sign the invoice until we have that worked out. There's another, so what are we going to do this week? Do we know who we're using? Do we have a basic budget that says pounds per saw, etc.?
Right. Currently, we have one company that's doing it temporarily for us,
Okay.
and we've also secured 2 more bids through Jeff from Landscaping that we're going to be looking at this week that we can use on a permanent basis. But we still need to go through as far as pricing and make sure they're in line with our pricing. In addition to that, we're also on the 12th, we're supposed to receive our 6 pallets of ice melt, which will put us back in line with what we keep in stock.
Okay.
So, I mean, we are ready to go, but like I said, the only one thing we're doing now is going through with our bidding process.
So again, I'm not adverse to the company we had. I'm adverse to not seeing a dedicated invoice. And that invoice should be broken down by man, by hours, by equipment, by operational material. And I didn't see it that way. So, you know, if Mr. Roy felt that they did a good job, and Jeff, I can go either way, but I want to make sure that it comes in.
Correct. Yeah, we'll have that before Wednesday.
Okay.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, it came in kind of, it was a one-line item, and that was it.
Pretty
Yeah,
much one line
absolutely.
item. Yeah. So, all right. So walk me through real quick. We got the corridors. We got a lot of phone calls last time about the corridors. So we got an operational issue that's on both sides. It's from the residents want to make sure that they don't slip and fall. Obviously, we don't want them to slip and fall when they're coming to dinner or whatever. But then we had a second problem. Mr. Dwindle comes in my office all the time and says, "What are you doing to me?" Because there's just massive amounts of salt internally, and not to mention marketing. So what we got to kind of sit down and try to figure out how we're going to do that, because if the contractor, if we need contractual help to go through the sidewalks area, then you have to come tell us, because I'm not sure that we don't need that help at this point. So if that's something that we need to look at, then let me know. We also have to look at the option of, are we strategically throwing the salt, or are we just throwing the salt? And that's a question, Mr. Roy, I guess I'm looking for you to kind of lead me in the right direction.
Well, we kind of like, we didn't have the spreader set proper, and Jeff and I talked about setting them.
Okay.
We put them together, we left them wide open, so when people put the salt in, they was walking, it was way too much.
Okay.
So we're setting it back to maybe a quarter,
Okay.
which it should be set, so we would put as much salt down in the covered areas.
Okay. And Dave, we did buy new machines too, because I don't think we got that out to the residents, so you might want to explain that a little bit.
Yeah, we did buy new spreaders and refresh the stock that we already had. And we also have a spreader on order through Sun Ventures, which we'll actually put on the back of one of our newer trucks. And we'll be able to do some of that stuff that we would normally contract out. We'll be able to do that in-house. So we'll be able to save on that side of things too.
The locations of questioning, where the issues are, we know who was assigned to that task. There may be some training involved.
I see, yeah, that'd be a good idea.
It's possible.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
Okay. So we'll go next to Kendal for security and transportation. I know Kendal has some good news.
Well, we'll start with security, just an update. We had some exposed wires that operated the gates up at the Lotsford Road gate, and with the help of Vernon and David Deal, we've had that repaired, so that shouldn't be an issue as far as the lines being cut. And I'm still awaiting a final quote for the remote cameras that will be located behind the 5,000 and 5,100 cluster. The original quote did not include an NVR, which is a remote digital video recorder that will allow us to be able to view video remotely through an internet access. So I'm still awaiting that quote, which I should have that this week. On the transportation side, on Monday the 17th, we should be taking delivery of 2 of our new electric vehicles, which are in line with us going green. We will be getting 1 van for housekeeping, and we'll be getting an electric car that security will be utilizing.
And I guess that's something that we want to, from a resident standpoint, has been, I'm sure, long desired at this point from our staff. So the old clunky housekeeping van, we're going to move that. Again, as Kendall said, that it'll be electric vehicles. So obviously, it'll save us on gas. It'll clearly save us on maintenance. And the reason for even doing that was, of course, sustainability, but also we look at the bills. Like having meetings like this, we kept seeing bills for the same cars over and over again, which means we obviously needed to make a decision. So the decision was to try to go green and obviously save operational dollars. So like I said, we should get them on Monday. There's been a lot of negotiating with these vehicles. So we've been negotiating these vehicles for about 3 months now. Far too long. Hopefully I'm not being evaluated on how fast I got these vehicles. So but yeah, so we'll have those 2 coming in, and then by, I would say, mid to late April, we will have the other 2 coming in, because they're actually coming in from California. So our plan is to wrap the vehicles with the kind of Collington logo. So it'll be representative of going around, not just like the vans we have now that just have a little plate on it. So we'll move forward with that, and we'll probably bring a copy of how it will look to this meeting to make sure we get suggestions. Too gaudy. Kim picks a lot of the colors out. Miss Lake picks a lot of the colors around here, so she'll tell us whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, and we'll go from there. So as far as the cameras, I knew there was some issues here some years ago on that backside for the 5,000s where it's all woods. We've been having a really tough time trying to find a vendor to come in and be able to basically hook up a wireless camera system. I think we found one finally. I mean, because we've been through about 3 or 4 people at this point, and either it was way too expensive or they just couldn't do it. So we think we found somebody. We gave a shot to actually the vendor that does all of our locks and things like that, because we renegotiated their contract, and they said, hey, we actually do this. So we're going to give them a shot. I mean, the price came in pretty well. I think it's serviceable with Collington, and the residents will be happy about it. So we're looking at giving them a shot. So there'll be more discussions in the next few weeks about that. Mr. Dwindle?
Okay. I will overlap Kendall a little bit with security and transportation. But, I'm going to start off with the environmental services side with the environmental services attendants. They have been working in an excellent manner, braving the cold. We are on schedule, on track with our independent living housekeeping schedule on the outside as well as the inside in the apartment building. Everything's on track. Also, in the health center, we are staying on top of our discharges. We are staying on top of the cleaning in the health center. We are staying on top of the personal clothing as well as the laundry in the health center. And the health center is looking good. And we're moving right along up there. Trash and recycle. Just a reminder to everyone who lives in cottages and villas that the trash and recycle days are Tuesdays and Fridays. we are moving forward with making everything very explicit on what is recyclable and what is not recyclable. We have these signs up in all of our recycle rooms down in the apartment building, which is very, very explicit, and it's very, very large.
No, it's great, it's terrific, it's unambiguous, which is one of the most important aspects of this whole thing.
Great.
Yes.
Size is wonderful.
Yes.
All right, now, I have a question. These go up in the apartment building, right?
They are.
How do you know, how do the people who live in the cottages?
We have 4 recycle rooms on the outside, and I'm coordinating now with Mr. Vernon.
And these will go up there?
Yes, but it's going to be a different. It's going to be the same format, but it's going to be it's a metal plate that's going to be placed on the outside of the door that's weather resistant. So if, say I'm a brand new resident and I was wondering where the recycle room is, there's going to be a huge sign on the door.
Oh, great.
That's going to be exactly like
Okay,
this.
thank you.
And it's like I said, it's
Thank you very much,
weather
Fred.
resistant.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. And again, I would like to thank everyone for the 5-star rating that we all received on the caring.com website. According to that website, we were the only assisted living facility/community that received a 5-star rating in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. We were the only ones.
Does marketing know all about that?
Yes, ma'am, they do.
Yes, we do.
Yes, ma'am. The next thing is we have a quality assurance document that comes out daily. Security produces a quality assurance document daily. And we, when I say we, Security and Kendal and I would like to encourage all residents to purchase a Sarah pendant. The amount of responses that the security department gets on a daily basis when a resident is in trouble and they press their Sarah pendant. Now, Sarah stands for Situational Awareness Response Assistant. And when it's the same thing as the Life Alert that's off campus. And what happens when a resident presses their Sarah pendant, it sends a signal to our security desk, and we, and an officer, security officer, responds to that. And I can't stress how important it is for, I'd like to see each resident, I encourage each resident to get one. And last but not least, our transportation drivers have not missed a schedule doing this inclement weather, and they have just been performing outstandingly, getting the residents to and from appointments, to the grocery stores, to anywhere that they need to go. So we really like to tip our hats off to the transportation drivers driving in these inclement weather conditions. That's all I have.
Kendall, and that's one. Go ahead, Tracy.
How do new residents learn about Sarah?
Oh, this is how new residents learn about Sarah. Two avenues. Number,
One thing I know in conjunction with marketing, they do talk with the new incoming
Marketing
residents.
lets them know this
Yes.
is available.
Yes.
Yes.
And when they come for pictures, do you mention it?
Well, no, I don't, because by that time, marketing has already...
Once is not enough.
Not enough.
and also,
Once is never enough. Remember this. You can say something once and you might as well spit out the window.
Okay.
also I'd like to add
All right.
that during the newcomers orientation,
Yes.
I give a spiel on Sarah
Oh, good.
that lasts at least 3 minutes.
I
And
bet it does.
not only do we give a spiel on Sarah, we give a spiel on where all the pool courts are located in their apartment,
Good, thank you.
as well as their cottages or their
All
villas.
right, I got the point.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
That's all.
So, Kendall, transportation, we had a conversation with nursing a while ago about the ambulatory care. I never heard anything back, so try to tie in with Judy and Aaron about that this week if you can, because I never saw anything come back from it.
What are they asking?
Well, we spend, again, we look at budget and a lot of things with budget. So we spend an exorbitant amount of money in ambulatory rides, for lack of a better term. We can't go into which company it is. So the company that we use, obviously, is, like I said, it's fairly expensive. So what we were trying to figure out is how many rides could we possibly pick up here if it's in a local area. The problem with us is Kendal can't go but so far out of that area because if the next person is going to run late coming back.
Well, and not only that, not to cut you off, but when you say ambulatory, I mean, we don't have a vehicle in terms of, if it's one thing if they're in a wheelchair, but if they need stretcher types of vehicles, we don't have those. We don't have that capability.
Exactly.
Turning in my head is the cost effectiveness of Collington owning one of those.
That's what, yeah, definitely.
Plus staffing.
Yeah,
the issue is not yet.
Also,
Yeah.
yeah.
Getting the vehicle is one thing, but paying for the staffing is
Yeah,
another.
see, getting the vehicle is the easy part.
Yeah.
You can leverage that out over a myriad of years.
What do you do with the staff?
Well, what do you
when
do
you're
with the
not doing
staff?
that?
Exactly. So that, and the problem that we have right now is we really want to help, but I have to make sure that the staff that's driving that person is certified, because if it's not, then I have another, issue on our hands. So we're going to look at it. We are going to look at it. If it's something that we can do, we'll try. We're also, when I talked to the nursing unit, I said, look, the option is also renegotiate the contract. If you feel as though it's too expensive, then just sit them down and say, I think it might be too expensive, and can we talk about it? My understanding is this, that vendor has been here for a while at this point. So, yeah. So we're working through it. David Deal, maintenance update.
Maintenance update, we were, met with the guys last week to kind of button up on proper procedures as it relates to making sure that you document all your tickets, make sure you have all the correct information, and going through processes as far as how to relay information back to Vernon and myself as far as ordering is related. I think that meeting went very well, and the guys are starting to get on board with it. One of the areas of concern still, though, is making sure that all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted as far as the information getting back. Because what we're seeing is some of the residents that call back in and have questions about where we are in relationship to the repair getting made or parts being ordered, that information isn't always readily available to, say, Lula that takes the call, or myself, or Vernon. So we're still working with the guys on that. We're buttoning up, but we're feeling better about the information. So that's a good thing.
As well as educating the employees. For instance, they'll go over there, if it's a leak in the seal, and they'll go over there and fix that leak, but we'll never know about patching it.
Correct.
So we gotta learn that communication and keep it going.
Communication is the key. Bobby?
All right. A good lead into the work orders. This time 2 weeks ago, we were sitting at about almost 300 work orders out there, but that was due to snow. And we've done a pretty good job getting caught up. We're down to 166 currently in process, which is much improved. Over the last 2 weeks, we did a total of 871 work orders completed.
So
And one thing we're going to change, or start directing our attention to now, is the completion time. We definitely want to try to get to all residents within 72 hours, barring, Mother Nature messing that up. If for any reason we do not make it to them by 72 hours, then we need to call the residents and let them know. And that's what we're working on now. In the last 2 weeks, we had 328 work orders that we completed on the same day it was called in, which is very good. 51 the next day, 18 took 2 days, 21 of those took 3 days. We only had 2 that took over 10 days, which is less than, it's 0.4%.
Dave, you can come up to the screen you want and kind of walk through the report, because we're saying it, but kind of show you, we can kind of explain through it. So when we initially came, we said, my goal was to say, look, any you need to complete it by 72 hours, 3 days, basically. If there is an issue with parts, we don't have something here, or it's outside of our purview, then we need to make sure that we notify either through phone call or back through the system to say, hey, we can't do it. So for a while there, we was trying to come up with the report and figure out how to work through it. So this is basically what we got into. So you'll see it by each employee. So if an employee comes in, and we'll just use the fourth name down, Dominic Cooper. So 50% of the work orders that he received in that time frame, he completed on the exact same day, and he closed them out. Anything, and when we go to the other part is, our questions start when we see 4 to 10. So our standpoint is with that is, when do we help the employer or have Dominic come back to us and say, hey, what are you having issues on? What can we help you with? Is it something that we're missing, or is there some supplies that we don't have, et cetera, et cetera. So that's how we game plan on what we're doing. So say like this week, if it snows really bad. So if it snows really bad, it drives the work orders behind, because now we have basically 16 individuals doing maintenance. So we'll have basically 16 individuals moving snow. And when I say 16, 3 of those are including Mr. Dwindle's environmental staff that we use as one team now. So you'll see the report can ebb and flow, but it's only going to pretty much ebb and flow probably a lot of times in winter. Because in the summertime, we're not shoveling. You don't have to, shovel if it's 110 degrees outside. So the work order should basically stay in a place where they need to be. But in the wintertime, like I said, you'll see ebb and flows. So as you can see, we're able to track each individual person's productivity. Most of it, we look at it for a positive, or where can we help you at. To be honest, it's accountability. So if we see something that just really makes no sense, we obviously talk to those individuals. So so Bobby, I'm sorry, I just want to make sure we explain.
That's all I have.
Now, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
If a work order is rejected for some reason, will we be notified? Take for instance, I put in a lot of work orders, especially for the new residents. I need to know if it's been rejected, or if the resident has been informed that it's been rejected, or even if it's being worked on. If there's some delay in a part or something like that, will they be notified? Because I'm getting repeat phone calls or repeat requests for the same work order. And I just need to know via email or some type of correspondence that it is actually being considered. If it's, if it's even in the queue. Most of the time with the new resident, I'll send out an email, because we're still working on that unit, maybe some things that we haven't completed. So I don't really put it in a work order queue. Well, I wasn't, but now I am. I'm even sending out an email and a work order at the same time. So it's two sets of correspondence, because it's of the utmost importance, especially when they're new on campus, what's going on. I mean, they have no clue.
The system is set up, Kim, that once you put in a work order and I see there's a duplicate work order, if I reject it because of a duplicate, the system, it should respond, it should come back to you. Bob, is that, you see those come back?
Should come back.
The problem is, if you're putting in the order for the resident,
Right.
they're not gonna know it was rejected.
But
You would.
I'm not getting
You're not
that.
getting
So
that on the
You have to
system?
check, make sure your email
But-
address is correct.
Yeah,
in the system.
that's correct.
If she would put the address in there, wouldn't it show all the work orders that are active or complete?
Right. Right, you can always go in and check the status of all your work orders.
And that's what I've been doing lately. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I've been getting an influx of them, so it's, it's hard for me to. And usually I'll tell them, I'll put it in for you this time.
That was the next
Haven't
thing I was
heard
gonna say.
anything, and within 2 to 3 days, I try to instruct them on how to put the work orders in, and it's just basically calling 2151. Not via email.
I think of it as a lot to do with what Bob just said. During the storm, we had over 300 work orders, we had the
Right.
flooding, so some of our work's being backed up. We're starting to play catch up right now.
Okay,
But the work order system will show you what's open and what's closed.
okay.
So let me ask this question. For new person comes in, what is the cutoff time? Because what I'm concerned about is we can't say new resident moves in, we send them immediately to the work orders system. That's not really realistic. So we need to figure out in this room what the cutoff time is. How long is Kim filling the request? I mean, because we know that initially when a person moves in, they're pretty much going to come to Kim. So if we're going to say the first 10 days, we're going to be taking those work orders for Kim, then we need to communicate that. Because you can't tell the person to move in and jump on WorkHub. That's just not happening. And we clearly see it.
How do we handle this?
Yeah.
I heard a sort of horror story about a very shy new resident who had an accumulation of problems that she didn't know what to do about them. You know, she didn't know how to put in a work order. To an extent, this is a failure on the part of her fellow residents, because somebody who lives close to her should have been in touch and said, how you got along, Daisy, can we help you with anything?
Well, how I've been addressing it, because I have to meet with them on the day of move-in, and even before then, maybe sometimes it's a week before then, sometimes it's a couple days, but on the day of move-in, they should have met with me. I have the new residence handbook, but I'll tell them within 10 days of them moving in, after they move in, up to 10 days, I will take the request.
Well, Bob, let's make sure that I guess what I'm trying to make sure is that we are all on the same page. Is that fair to Kim? Is it fair to us? Because we have to give them something. I know that we have to give them something. Let's just be fair about it. The amount of days, because I don't know if we put them in a different bucket when we close them from Kim. I don't know if we create a different report for it. But are we in agreement on 10 days? I guess is my first question.
No, I think she needs about 15 days because of the fact that some of the things that they are really asking Kim to have done, it has to be done by appointments. And sometimes the maintenance staff, they already have other appointments already set with other individuals.
Sure.
So they have to follow through with theirs before they get to the newcomers that come in. And I think if you was to go ahead and take the request from them before getting them on the system, we might be able to track what needs to be done for them better than them trying to put the work orders in themselves.
Yeah. And that's a good time frame for me, 15 days.
15 days.
All right, so we're going to say, so that needs to go out to, so we need to make, or Ms. Francis, we need to write that for the Collington Curves.
And I think that should go to district leaders also,
Okay.
who would then, if they're doing what they're supposed to do, should tell their cluster and corridor leaders.
This happens in the marketing committee meeting. I will tell you, fellow residents are extremely undependable.
Unless their corridor
They're
leader
moving
pushes
in.
them.
Okay.
And I have found that if the district leader pushes them, surprisingly enough, they might respond.
Okay.
Who's going to push the district leader? I'll talk to you about how you want this to go later on.
Okay. All right, so yeah, because we agree with 15 days, and then after that's 15 days, I guess, Bob, between you and Kim, we need to have a calendar mapped out. Because Kim needs to be notified, and we need to know when that resident moves in, and then we should have it on everybody's calendar that 15 days is on work hubs.
Well,
That way, Kim shouldn't really have to notify, if she's going to take that part, then she shouldn't have to notify us that it's on us now. So,
what occurs is, Kev, when we get a new resident, Bob gets an email about the phone and so forth, so he'll know that this individual, he should know the individuals and the unit number.
yeah, but that individual touches everybody. So Dwayne needs to know, Kendal needs to know.
We all know.
And there
Everybody
is
needs to know on the 15th. Where it goes, so that's
There is an email that goes out.
Yeah, we all know from Jerry Mosley, he comes out, let us know about the phone and welcoming, so on and so.
But that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is when we go off, when it's on us, so the first 15 days, we're saying Kim's going to take everything that needs to go in from a work order and notify us from a new resident. On the 15th, 16th day, we have to take everything. That resident should be on, should be on WorkHub, should know our numbers, should know Ms. Lola, and know everybody. That's the part that I'm worried about. I know we have to get the phones, the smoke alarms, and all that. I know about that email. But after that 15, we need to be on point. So that's what I'm saying. Let's just put it in the calendar so everybody knows it's on us after that 15 days. All right. Go ahead,
Hey,
Dave.
Kim, the majority of all calls that you get, do you see them as relation to extra additional items that the new resident wants coming in, or are they just normal maintenance calls?
Most of it is, it's an addition to it. I mean, it's the maintenance calls as well as the renovation calls. So computer calls, phone calls, everything.
Gotcha.
It's a hanging pictures.
So it's all encompassing then, it's
yeah,
just
yeah,
everything?
Everything is,
Setting the thermostat.
yeah, everything, everything.
Gotcha, okay,
Yeah, because they know nothing at this point.
okay.
And so we really need someone to address them when they come in, especially with the heating, the phones, and the computer,
Gotcha.
the computers. Everything else is pretty simple.
Dave, why don't we download? We can go to Best Buy or go wherever we need to go and get a zillion CDs. Download the Pepco instructions on CD or DVD, and have that in Kim's new package.
Her moving package, okay, all right.
Yeah. Because we have it. I mean, they could watch it right on the channel, the YouTube channel, but if they don't, when they come in, you have a CD. It's already in a package for how to work the system. So
Okay.
we should just buy it and download CDs. That's fine.
Okay.
It's not a problem.
Gotcha. Now, only one concern that I have about that is if it's a request from a resident that's moving in, that may be something that they would be charged for.
Yes.
Is there some way that we can log those in maybe through email instead of a ticket? Because sometimes those items, they may decide not to do it after they get a price.
Absolutely.
And that's a ticket out there in cyberland that we don't want to have to open and then close out
And I
just
can pretty much
because.
determine that,
Okay,
and I'll tell them, this is gonna be a charge.
Gotcha.
Take for instance, the free picture hanging for 1 hour. When you're ready for that, call me, I'll schedule it for you. However, anything after an hour, you will be charged for it. I stress with the Sarah pendant, I stress that every resident needs one. That's one of the things that I discuss. I tell them that's a $135 one-time fee. We ask that you purchase one, we recommend that you purchase it, and if you do, this is going to be the fee. So they all know the fees and the charges. I pretty much know that, and if I have a question about it, I always give one of you all a call to find out if this is going to be a charge for that, so that I can pass it on to the new resident. But basically, and that's what I do. Anything that they're going to be charged for, I'll definitely send it out in an email. I'll continue to do that.
But is that in their packages already, when you give them their moving package, isn't that written out in their package?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yep. Yes, it is.
Was saying that, remember what you were talking about the other day, Ms. Lilo, there used to be a form for charges?
Okay, we talking about addendum to the contracts whenever they order extra items as far as the structure of the overall cottages or units, there's addendum should be done so we can send.
We haven't been receiving any, all we do is receive a request. But, and also, we should get I found out recently, we gotta get a signature from a resident saying that they approved that.
Yes.
Well, let's get into that when we go open up the turnover. Okay, so from this, you'll see we have every work order completed by every employee on our team, and it matches up with the hours. So of course, when we look at the report, we want to make sure that there's nothing too out of whack. So in other words, we don't want to see 2 work orders for 85 hours. So that's kind of how we look at it. So if there's anything that is really glaring on this report, Dave, Bob, we obviously come have that conversation with me. But at this point, every employee that is logging in, we can track what their work orders are, and we know where they completed them, and basically the amount of time it takes to complete them. Obviously, this is a 2-pronged approach. We look at it to make sure that the employees are accountable, and we also look at it from a resource standpoint. Because if we look at it and there's somewhere where we're really falling short, for lack of a better term, then we might have to obviously discuss resources. That comes out a lot when we discuss obviously the environmental team. So.
I'm looking at people that I know are the ones that do the apartments and do the housekeeping.
Mm-hmm.
They get work orders?
We count it as a work order.
You count what as a work order?
Cleaning your apartment is a work order.
Ah, so, okay.
Yep.
But not only that, they also, it lets you know, it keeps a record as well as how often, and it kind of puts people on a schedule.
Yeah.
It also helps us to look at time studies. So we're trying to make sure that we have a general idea for what it takes to clean an apartment, obviously versus a cottage, obviously versus.
And different size
and
apartments.
different size. Yep. That's why we do it.
And there's no accounting for positioned by some residents, to put it bluntly.
Yeah. Correct. That would be correct. That would be correct. One more thing, Mr. Roy, we did not talk about in the initial information, landscaping. We are in the process at this point, and I've been meeting with Ms. Alice immensely on this, looking at 2 vendors. We won't go into the vendor names, but there's going to be a meeting Thursday, correct? There will be a meeting on Thursday of the grounds committee, but I'm sure Ms. Alice will open it up to visitors, and we're going to have 2 companies come in and do a presentation on what they can do as far as master planning for the community, and also just the maintenance contract. When I came here, I said we would be very transparent, so we're really kind of standing out. We want that to be the residents' choice, so they're going to, like I said, they meet Thursday at 3. I think it's in the game room, So like I said, so if anybody wants to come, I think that it might be a good meeting to come through. You can actually see the plan. Actually, I have a copy of one of the presentations on my desk, so if you guys want to look at it, feel free.
What about lighting?
Lighting too. I'm going to get to that because we had a meeting about that. Well, we had an email about that this weekend.
Would you mind explaining to me briefly what they're doing in that, in the scooter room where they're going upstairs, and what project is that?
We actually have some construction work going on in the attic, and there was very little or no access to the attic.
What
It's above the library and down the corridor that goes to the clock tower.
What are they doing?
There's no heat up there, so that's when a lot of our pipes are freezing, there's no
Okay,
insulation.
oh, they're installing
Installing
heating.
heaters, right,
Oh,
correct.
that was what I wanted to know.
And
Installing heating.
on that note, there's
Thank
now heat in the Ivy
That's
Bar
what the guy
bathrooms.
told me, but I just wanted to
great.
check
There was
him out.
never heat there.
Great. I think that needs to go out this week too. We need to write that and make sure that we let everybody know that. Feel free for the
That's
Ivy
being
Bar
done
bathroom.
by an outside contractor.
Yes. Yep.
They're very nice people.
Good. Glad you like them. All right. Well, that means something we're doing is working.
And
Sorry, Kim.
I'm sorry, a question about landscaping. Are we supposed to, I guess, pose all of our questions to the landscaping department, or if they have a question about something in particular that they want to do, can they bring in an outside landscaper? What's the protocol regarding bringing in outside fix-it guys, landscaping, painters? You know what I'm getting to.
I would prefer not to. I would prefer it be an operational call, where if they do, you send us the information. If you send within that 15 days. If not, they just know the number to call us and we do it. Because the problem is, what we don't want to happen is for somebody to get taken advantage of.
Absolutely.
Financially, materials-wise, whatever. At least if we know if our individuals and the guys that we have here, people we have here, can make sure they want to get the best price. Make sure that the work is done correctly, and make sure that if something isn't done correctly, then we can go back after the person.
Right.
The issue with that is if a resident does it on their own, we don't really hold a lot of play if something goes wrong.
Absolutely, and this is one of the things that I stress to them, is that if you bring someone in from the outside, then we're not responsible for any mishaps that go along, because most of them come from homes where they have handymen, and they want things done expeditiously, and so can I bring my handyman, or can I bring my gardener? And so those questions, I don't know. I can't answer that, but I always stress to them to come through our departments first, and I'll get the answers that I can get for them, because my handyman will come here and he'll do this for me. However, we do charge, is it $25 an hour for any type of maintenance issues that they have. Some of them cringe regarding that because they have long-lasting relationships with some of these people. They've been in their houses for 40, 50 years. However, they are moving into a community, and we do have rules and protocol that we need to.
And it's really just liability. To be quite honest
yeah.
with you, it really boils down to liability.
Yeah, yeah.
We kind of have a general idea of who's coming on our campus. there's protocols for any contractors that come on the campus, so they know what they have to do, they know they have to sign in, they know they have to wear a badge, so on and so on.
That's right.
If you're bringing somebody in and God forbid, you don't give them those rules, and we don't even know they're on the campus, and then something happens, well, guess who takes the blame?
Yes.
And that's not a position that I like to be in, you know, so.
I think that's key though, Kevin. Security's gotta know who's coming and who's going, who opened their door and who they open the gate for and who not.
That's right.
Remember the summer, me and you were on the campus and met several contractors that we didn't even know.
Right.
They were having garden work done, they were.
Because some of the residents are actually calling in their own
Yeah.
contractors to do certain things, and I don't think that's so.
Yeah, so we probably need to, Ms.
not
Francis, we probably need to get something out about that too. Ms. Francis, we probably need to put something out about that too, because we definitely don't want that to happen.
That's okay,
Yeah,
that in mind.
sounds good.
Yeah.
Alright, so again, there's a presentation of 2 contractors Thursday at 3. Like I said, I'm sure Ms. Alice will be happy to have more visitors come in and look at game room. Yes. Alright, so this week, we moved in, I guess Kevin Vernon, 4106 and 4107.
4107 is the correct address.
4107.
Yeah,
Yeah,
4107.
so I did get an email this morning
Okay.
about some things that need to be done. I think the contractor did come over and say, hey, we're going to go over there and work on it.
Yes.
Yep.
So I think we're okay there.
Yes, we are.
250. So anything in yellow.
250
yeah.
was,
is new movement.
we
Yeah.
thought was close to being finished, but after looking at it, they want to replace the whole carpet in the living area. So I'm waiting on that estimate to come through.
Okay. The move-in date is the 26th.
26.
Cool. Okay, so let me ask that question. For the carpet, the new carpet is coming in. The new resident doesn't like, or we didn't?
Well, the situation with this one was there was a cutout in there, 6 by 6.
Okay.
However, I was told on Friday
Okay.
that they will be replacing that carpet in the living room because it does not look right.
Okay.
So, we were dead on schedule,
Okay.
and hopefully we still will be. We've got a couple weeks before the 26th. Other than that, everything else has been done in that unit. We're okay. We had a few more additions, and they've already been taken care of. So the only thing that we're waiting on now is the carpet to be replaced, only in the living room area.
Great.
And I don't believe that that's going to be the residents' responsibility.
Okay. It's on, yeah, well,
Yeah.
if that's the way you're explaining it now, it's on us. I thought maybe the resident walked in
No.
and said, I don't like it,
No.
because I knew that was an as-is,
No.
correct?
Right.
Okay,
It was an as-is.
all right.
This one, I have been totally in the dark through the entire process. So actually, I posed the question marks to Kevin Weber. This is his resident.
Well, I guess what we're concerned about, and I guess I'll kind of speak for Vernon on this one, is I need to know what that true date is. Because the problem now is there was permit issues. We had some really intense meetings with the contractors last week on a finish date. But what I don't want to do is push them and kind of beat them up, for lack of a better term, on that finish date, and they're not even close. Because if they're going to be here, from what I was hearing, late March,
Okay, and that's perfect.
then we need to stick with that, because there's some
Absolutely.
issues over there.
Okay.
So now, in us speaking here, the contractor still is going to think that they need to be out by the 14th of February, which at this point, I know is unrealistic.
Right, okay. Well,
So-
that's what I need to know. because-
So, so if it's really March, I'm okay with that. I can
Alright.
live with that.
Okay.
I would almost prefer that.
It was closer to the beginning of March, wasn't it, Kim, I was told? And
That's
then
what I was
changed
told.
Beginning of March.
And then I was told February, so I just really wanted to know what the situation was, the status of the unit, so I can determine, so we can all determine together
Yeah, I
what's a
talked
good
to-
move-in date for this.
I talked to
this-
Kevin personally,
Okay.
tried to
Okay.
get a date, he said in early March.
for
Okay,
early-
so-
Late March, early March.
Early March. Okay, well, if you can let me know today, Kevin, where we're gonna go with that, so we can be okay.
Right.
204.
204, the carpet was installed over the weekend, the appliances will be installed today, we're gonna do a walkthrough tomorrow.
Okay.
When those of us residents that walk through, when do you want us to do that, Kim? Because I know you would like us to do it first in case we see something that needs to be corrected.
Right. Is there, can we all do it together? I mean, is it possible for all of us to be in this?
Yeah, I prefer to do everything at one time.
I don't have a problem with
Yeah.
that.
It's-
But those of us in the community that are going to do it, we need to know far enough in advance. I mean, you just can't say, oh, we're going to do this tomorrow. I may have a class, Vic is in the hospital somewhere, and
So what I need to know is who are your inspectors as far as the residents are concerned, so that I
you
can.
know who they
So
are.
I know you're one of them.
Eloise and Vic James and Luann Baker.
Okay, and what I can do is I can put them also on our email and send
And
them.
also
I have been sending,
You might get a copy of this too.
yes, absolutely, and I sent you one Friday.
Yes.
Yes, and I can do the same for the rest of the residents.
Okay.
And I would like for us to do it collectively. I mean, I don't want
Yeah, it makes more sense.
5
when-
different inspections going on.
And I can tell you where
And I
it's
agree.
so inefficient the way we've been doing it. You guys go in, you see one. Kim goes in, she sees them.
Different eyes.
Vern and I see. If everybody's there at one time,
Yes.
all we ask is to take your shoes off so you don't step down on the new carpet. That's all we ask. Other than that, we prefer everybody go at one time so everybody can see it, and whatever issues come out of there, we handle at one time. Because everybody needs to understand too, it costs us money. When the contractors finish with their date and say they're finished, everything that we go and ask for extra is extra money. So if we can do that, I would be happy, ecstatic actually.
I have something that I would like for the apartment building, Kim. If you could determine whether or not the incoming resident is very short or is in a wheelchair, and it's all right to have that rod in the coat closet as low as it is in every apartment.
Yes.
Because if you'll notice, almost every apartment I go in, I will write on there that the rod in the coat closet near the front door is too low.
Yes.
If the person is very short or in a wheelchair, that's cool.
And I think that's why they are low like that, because
But everybody
they've been-
coming in is
it's not
that
that
short or in a
even some
wheelchair.
of the taller men have asked that the rods be lowered because they're having slump issues. And Vern and I have been noting that, to
If you know
reposition the
that.
rods, and we've been doing that, and it's on my design sheet.
Do you get a copy of the design sheet when you do your walkthrough?
No, they don't.
No.
And another question, or another issue is that we had determined early on that a design sheet will be put in each unit. You know, so you can keep track of what's going on.
Not
maybe check
constantly, but they're
So-
supposed to pull when they're done. It's supposed to be put on the back window or the sliding glass door.
Mhm.
They shouldn't be there when we're doing our inspection, because by that time it's been cleaned.
Right, exactly. We're doing the process, the renovation process, it should be there.
Yeah, I agree.
So there's no question. And if I have a change or an addendum,
Okay.
That should be there as well.
that
I
should be
agree.
there as well. Yeah.
Look, we don't, during construction, we don't care if the patio glass looks like a poster board.
Right.
I would almost
Right.
prefer that it looks like
Yeah.
a poster board, because that way I know every
We're
change
communicating.
was there and we're communicating. What kind of annoys me is we'll go in there and we only see one, or we see none,
Right.
which obviously is problematic. Each contractor needs to put that up there.
Or you ask them where the design sheet is, and they'll say it was with so-and-so.
Or the initials, maybe we changed the process, kind of like we looked at with Kim earlier about the 15 days. When we first do the project, maybe we go in there and put it up and post it. So that way we know we did it, and nobody can say that we did it. And if it's not there when we go back in, we know they
Well,
moved
that
it.
can be done, Kim, that's a good idea.
All right,
Okay.
all right. So I think we'll change and kind of do that.
And I only have the ones that the move-ins for February, in yellow, but we've got March, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 7 move-ins coming up in the month of March.
254, are they coming in March, or hasn't been decided yet?
I've moved them down to the to be determined 254 because I have no idea. They're
Last
still working.
last
unit's
time I
complete.
heard
So
was,
yeah.
the unit is complete, but the last time I heard there was still some negotiating to be done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Same thing with 115, 116, I heard this morning.
And the same with Dr.
Oh, I'm sorry, what point? I'll color them.
Yeah, 5111. So those, I still don't have any information on.
Well, these are done, so I don't feel bad about that.
Yeah,
because they're done.
They're done.
Besides 5115.
Have you had the walkthroughs?
Not for 50, when we say done, we mean construction-wise,
Oh,
not
okay.
for the walk, yeah.
But
So,
you
Right, and I don't have and I have a TBD there for the walkthrough because, you know.
That's, I saw
But
that.
5111 was walked through by the residents.
Okay, what was that?
That's the one with the pocket doors and all.
Oh, that's
yeah, that's the
not-
kind
I don't do cottages and
Okay.
villas.
Okay.
And I'll get an update on that one. But we have so many coming in on, well, we have quite a few, 3, 4 that are coming in on the 1st of March. So I want to kind of tie them in with February.
so why don't we do that, right? I mean, you just said something very interesting. So we're splitting up.
No, different people.
Different
Different
people are,
Different
different
residents.
residents.
Okay,
Because
got it.
I know what doesn't work or
In
needs
an apartment.
attention in the apartments. And
Okay.
I wouldn't know jack sugar about the villas.
Gotcha. All right, so we have 167. 167 should be easy because that was
Been
already
done
done.
and
So
inspected.
that was, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now, I do have the resident will pay to replace carpet with hardwood.
And that brings me to my next
Yes.
subject. We are not doing anything that I don't have your signature on.
Oh, definitely
So-
understand that, and I will get those signatures
All right,
for you.
so
I'm still waiting on those.
When they say that they agree to pay,
Yes.
we want your signatures or Kevin's or whatever. So, because the issue comes with emails that came the other day, where either I'm not happy with the work or I forget that I asked for the work and now, so I think, in reality, I think it should have your signature plus their signature
Yes.
and then we'll do it.
I totally agree.
Okay.
Okay.
But if we can't send it upstairs to process it until their signature's on it, so their signature's gotta be on it.
And I stress that to my new residents, you know, if you want it, if you have a change, it may affect your move-in date, your completion date, you know, I need those signatures. And
But that goes
exactly.
back to that form that Ms. Lou was talking
That's
about.
the them that needs to
Prior
go up
to
to
our
sheriff.
arrival, Kev, there was a form that was being filled out, it's not being done.
Well, I mean, we can recreate the
And-
form if we need
absolutely.
to. I don't have any issue with
Yeah.
that. So,
Send
I think
a
that's just
copy
an
of
issue
that
of sitting
and
with Kim.
Yeah.
Or make our own.
It was established in marketing, right, Ms. Lou?
I think it was established in marketing, and then it came from, the accounting department.
Alright, well, I don't wanna kinda cry
Call
with, if
back.
we need to just make a simple form, I can sit here and make it while we're talking, but let's just have one form that we all agree on, that the residents sign for any particular work that they want done, that they are responsible for.
It's like a contract, more or less.
Okay, sure.
So, Vernon, you don't feel, in any ways, we're gonna have any issues with the 5 move-ins for March, correct?
None at all.
The only thing we need to really discuss is, 2115.
And 16.
16 and sure, we really need to know what that real move-in date is. And the farthest that you can push it out, the better.
Oh, quick question for
Yes.
you all, since we're all in the room together. The Slausons, 4217, they've emailed me quite a few times regarding the skylights, and I have it over here in the comments section. Is skylight glass UVB, UVA protected? Can I just get a quick, and can it be?
We'll definitely get back to you.
Thank you so much, I appreciate it.
We'll definitely get back to you on that one.
Yeah.
No problem at all.
Okay.
So, again, we need to also discuss, and Ken, this might be a bigger conversation. There was something that happened Friday that we need to talk about. Architect goes to visit with whoever they go with in marketing. Whatever their issues is, that needs to stay between the architect and operations. There was something that happened Friday that shouldn't have happened, and we'll discuss more about that later. But I would almost prefer that if the architect goes to a site, that he goes with Vernon.
Yes.
So, and I will give him a call today to notify him of that.
Okay.